BCard's all about helping purpose-driven communities use Web3 tooling to generate revenue and engagement. On the leg metric side, while we didn't take measurements last week, actually I think we're a bit above last week, but from the week before, we're about down 500. We have 243 transaction volume this week. On the lead metric side, and this is what we think are going to move the needle on leg metrics, we have 4 weekly transacting users, which is up 1 from the previous week, 9 new users, which is actually 3. So we're getting that bug again, which is a multiple user bug. This is something that I'm not quite sure why it's happening, and it stopped happening for a while, but then all of a sudden it happened again. I'll get into it hopefully next week and try to figure out why it's happening. In the meantime, I'll cancel the user accounts that were extra. We have 10 communities deployed. Team-wide announcements, FYI to everyone, I'm starting a new contract this week, which means that some timings of meetings might change. It should stay the same for the most part, but tomorrow I don't think I'm going to be able to make it to any meets. So we'll see. In general, this contract knows that I'm also working on BCard, and they encourage me to continue working on it. I got to just figure out how to juggle the two. In-app voting is almost ready for...
Congratulations on the new contract.
All right. In-app voting is almost ready for release, so take a look at it on staging. Tom added the weighted voting, which we'll talk about a little bit later, but that's what we needed to actually show the Black Flag Collective on the in-app voting. I was using it yesterday, and it is very smooth. Like, it's a Web 2 experience. There's a couple of rough edges that we need to smooth out, but it's ready for anyone here who wants to check it out on staging. JRH, if you want to test it out on staging, let me know, and I'll hook you up as well. I was able to get 1.5 ETH from the flow state deposit into our multisig. This is continuous quadratic funding, and it's something that we were kind of pitching really hard at the end of 2024. I think the entire amount will be kind of going into contributor rewards. But I don't know how that's going to look quite yet, but I do know that I want to use our in-app voting to help distribute those funds. So look for that soon. I have to go to the dentist today and pick up my kids from the dentist, so I probably have to leave a little bit early. All right, JRH, I will hook you up with that beta voting stuff. Let me just write it on my list before I forget. Moving on, from a milestone perspective, 10 weekly transacting users. In-app voting, as I mentioned before, is pretty close to being released. We still have a few bugs, but we're hoping to release this week, and the next step will be to actually use it to make it useful to the people in this room. I mentioned contributor rewards, and then we also have the Black Flag Collective voting. We did have double the amount of people voting at the Black Flag Collective this month than we had last month. Some of that is through our in-app voting, but if we really want to make that work even better, we probably need to open it up even more. That's something that we're going to use to improve the feature itself, maybe improve access and change the way that it actually works. But yeah, that's the plan for in-app voting. Just because we put it out there doesn't mean that people are going to use it. So the next thing we have to do is make it very useful. Also fix some small bugs. There's a login bug, and the transaction list wasn't showing things like pending. The transaction list is up for a redesign. It's probably less important than the onboarding flow, which we're aiming to redesign as well, but doesn't mean we shouldn't fix bugs on it. So for now, I just added a little adjustment to the text. Now it says approved when it's approved, or rather pending and authorized. You'll see that right now on the production app. On the 10 new users a week milestone, on the new messaging side, I worked on the messaging and I'm getting bogged down in feedback. A lot of people probably have different opinions on how we should go. When I presented it last week at the ops meeting, there ended up being more feedback. Ultimately, we could talk forever about how it might look within our group. I think the better thing for me to do is to just test it, throw it up and see what kind of response I get. The real purpose of the messaging is to create that new channel, that new flow for us to increase our drip of users. Right now we're getting like 4 to 6 users a month, and we want to turn that into 40. We want to increase it by an order of magnitude. So we need a new channel to be able to do that properly. And so that's why we just need to start testing things on here. We do have some free Google ad credits, and we do have landing pages on MailJet. I think what my next thing to do after getting out in-app voting and working on the endowment fund a little bit will be really just to get that flow going so we can kind of experiment on a weekly basis on this messaging. On the ChippiCon side, Blue Bear ran a transaction at the bar. Tom set up the transaction server to recognize and send an NFT, and Drost is getting the art completed. We still have some work to do on the technical side of this, but ETHDenver is coming up in just under 2 weeks, and we need to start promoting the crap out of this thing. Anyone who's going to ETHDenver, anyone who's going to ChippiCon, we want them to know that they'll get a special edition Perchy NFT for people who are going to ChippiCon. That could be a very interesting thing for them. It's also a way for us to test out this new type of feature, a new type of promotion. If you're using BCard, we're able to bridge that like fiat spend with some on-chain activity. So you did something at a certain merchant. Here is some on-chain status for what you did. So in this case, if you go to ChippiCon and use a BCard, then you will get a Perchy NFT, like an exclusive Perchy NFT. So I'm pretty excited about this. I think it's a really interesting experiment, but it only works if we promote it very well. So I don't know, Drost, I guess we talked about you promoting it last week, but how are you feeling on this?
I'm feeling good about it. I agree with you. We need to promote the shit out of it. Getting some materials prepared here. The way attention is so fragmented and short term, there's going to be a lot of distraction anyway. The key thing here, and Links you had pointed out, I believe, the last time we chatted, was the key is to get their card loaded before ChippiCon. So if they haven't gotten their card yet, I don't know how realistic it would be for people to get new cards between now and then and get it loaded. But for those who already have their cards, make sure you have some funds on it. It doesn't have to be a whole lot. Any purchase at the bar that night during ChippiCon, as Links had pointed out, Tom has the merchant info now. So you don't have to do anything. Just buy something at the bar. Buy a friend a drink, buy a snack, something. There's some games there. It's a little bar, 2-level. And you're going to get a cool NFT drop that's hand designed by Perchy, and only the people that attend that event and use their BCard are going to get that Chippy NFT. And I have a preview if we have time for it.
Absolutely.
During the meeting.
Yeah, so anyway, I mean, this is a great time to show that. One thing I should mention, Drost, is that people get their cards instantly. I do hope we can get new people who are part of Chippy Nation getting the card. The thing that takes longest is it takes 3 days to ACH money in. And ACH is kind of our only method for getting money in right now. Whether you're going through crypto or traditional financial rails, it all has to go through ACH right now. I do think that we can promote it to people who don't have a BCard right now. In fact, I think that that's potentially the value.
Fantastic. I would also like to tie it into, and this may be news to folks here, we are doing an X space to promote the new Black Flag DAO structure. And that is going to be next week on the 18th. And that's going to be, I can give you the times and UTC and stuff later, because I don't want to confuse everything. But that's going to be on February 18th. TrueCat, Ulinks, and the Thriller are going to be on there talking about the new BFD Black Flag DAO structure. I think it's also a great opportunity because we're going to be talking about how we're funding and how people are staking in the new Black Flag DAO. And I don't want to confuse things with too many different things for people to participate in and try and stake in. But it's a perfect opportunity to bring up, since ETHDenver is coming up here in a couple of weeks, and I'm planning an hour and a half scheduled for that. Twitter Spaces go. There's lots of time to chit chat and cover other topics. I intend to talk about ChippiCon and how we're using Web3 tooling to run an experiment, and how BCard is working to get this cool Perchy designed NFT if you do that. And I think it's a great opportunity. I'll be at ETHDenver, and I have a QR that TrueCat has designed so that people can deposit into the Black Flag pool. I'd like to have a couple of QRs available. So, for example, one for like Get BCard for people to go sign up there. I think that would be really great. The way we're doing the QR for going to the Black Flag Cabana app, this is separate from BCard, but it's just kind of the same idea, is we want to make sure people are going to the right place, and we don't want people to take pictures of I know you can't really prevent it, but taking pictures of the QR, changing the thing. I doubt that would happen because this is a smaller community, but we're only going to have a couple of people with that QR on their device. So like me and ZFi and a couple of other folks that our community trusts and knows who they are. It's like, oh, the staking, here's the QR to go directly to the staking page. So do this, go to the link, that's your page. Are you guys ready to see the sample artwork?
Yeah, let's see it. I'll stop
right.
sharing for a second so you can.
All right, let me go ahead and share the right part here. Make selection, share this window. All right.
Oh, sweet.
Ooh.
And that's the latest. I just got that from Perchy last night. Links.
Yeah, I like the karaoke, and I like how ChippiCon 2 is a little bit more prominent in this one. I still wish it said BCard somewhere. I liked before how it said BCard in the
Yeah,
little
I
thing.
just noticed. I will show you the other one. Let me bring it up. This was the previous one.
I think the bunny corn needs a pink t-shirt.
Let me see if I can share this with you.
That's too far, Tom.
I'm going to switch. So let me close that one. I'll open another one right here.
Will there be a way for people to retroactively claim this if they sign up to BCard on the night?
You have to make a purchase at the bar. So this
Yeah.
one had a little B
So they'd
card
have
in
to
it,
prove-
which was cool. The bunny corn had a card in his hand too.
Yeah.
I think it would be good to have somebody back with a B card in their hand.
Yeah.
And then he had taken out Whiskey Bar because it's too generic. Maybe.
I agree. Yeah, I think
And
it's
so,
better.
yeah, that's
I just like even if it just said if you zoom out a little, Dros, instead of achievement unlocked, if it had some text with B card in it or something like that, then it would
okay.
be like you could use the exact same image, right? Like the other image that you showed, like the karaoke image or whatever.
Okay, super.
Yeah. Either
Good
one
call.
looks really great though. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. Like changing achievement unlocked, adding something in there about B card, and then possibly if we can get that card back in there. I liked that in the first one because it draws your eye to it, and then
Cool.
the larger ChippiCon 2 and the newer one.
Perfect. All
What if
right.
it's like BCard loyalty points or BCard loyalty token? Keep it simple.
Expand on that, NF.
If it was BCard plus what it is, like BCard loyalty token, instead of achievement unlocked.
Achievement unlocked. Okay.
You could say BCard loyalty token, and then you wouldn't have to put BCard anywhere else in the image. And then I was also thinking, like, there are a lot of people out there who are going to attend ChippiCon who currently have limited or no idea that BCard even exists. So trying to
You lost you there, NF, for a moment.
Cool.
Only one that can't hear NF Thinker.
I can't hear NF Thinker either. Anyways, I do think we have a bit more to go through this meet. So let's take this async.
Yep.
I definitely think there's a couple things that we could do. The important thing is for us to promote it as much as we can before ChippiCon. Dros, you said that you wanted to work on this. Is there anyone else who wants to help promote this endeavor? Like literally half of us here have chippies. Probably every single one of us has a chippy. Actually, half of us here are sporting them as our PFPs. Does anyone else want to help with this promotion effort?
I'll certainly help how I can.
Thanks, Tom.
Cool, thanks.
I was actually thinking along the lines of promotion or incentivizing future use beyond this event. What if we deployed a permissionless Chippy community?
Yeah, I think we should deploy Chippy community after this event. It gives us a way to re-engage the community. So they hear about us and say, oh, I don't have a B card. But then we could do a thing where we're like, hey, if you join the Chippy community, you can still get that NFT after the fact.
Yeah, that's kind of what I meant. Like having a host way to claim that or to claim something, just kind of incentivize everybody who's there. Big crowd, a lot of different people from who knows where. You might have freaking Kevin Owaki in the room, and you never know who's actually going to attend these events. And not to say that ChippiCon is the biggest thing ever, but everybody at Permissionless in Austin talked highly of the Chippy NFTs. We very nearly had a mega poker tournament and live music with a huge thing in Austin. It just didn't happen. But there's a lot of respect for the Chippy community. And I think Web3 people will definitely get it. Hopefully, a lot of people will show up. And giving those people the opportunity, like you were saying, retroactively claim their card, get the NFT, and who knows what that will unlock in the future.
Yep. All right.
Yeah, that's an excellent point, and I know you need to move on. I'll share this with Perchy. I think that's great feedback. It's a super cool opportunity. Let me think on that a bit about how to engage people that are there. We don't want them to be disappointed. It's like, oh man, I wish I'd known. It's like to give them something they want to sign up for. How do I get involved? Give them a QR, something that say, hey, are you new to it? Here's your QR to go sign up if you want to be a part of the Chippy community. Chatted a little bit with Perchy about possibly a Chippy community for BCard, and he was totally open to that. I don't know how much work is required to get it set up, but I definitely think that's on the table.
We probably could get it set up before the day, but let's discuss this offline.
Okay, got it.
And NF Thinker, did you want to help with this promotion too?
Let me know how I can help. I can retweet things, etc. Unless you needed something specific, tweets written, that type of thing.
Okay, keep it in mind.
Got it. And I'm in a DM group with a couple of folks. So Johnny and myself and Perchy and Hero are in there. And so Johnny's really good at promoting stuff too. So if you need any graphics created, and I know you're good at that stuff too. So just to give you a heads up on people that are already working on it. All right, I'll shut up. Moving on. Thanks.
All right, thanks, guys. All right, I'm Taxman. I added internal transactions on ETH and Poly, and I removed ignore transactions from the CSV and some other small fixes. I did try to do a couple of other things like adding degen chain and as well adding the function name to the CSV, and it just wasn't that easy. And I didn't think we'd get a ton of value from it. So all this is to prepare for sending an email to our list, and that's kind of the last we'll work on Taxman right now, unless we get some big reasons not to. I think like one thing to note on Taxman, there's two reasons we want to do it. One is so people can kind of we have like an in when people are like, hey, they mention taxes on social media. Hey, we worked on this Taxman product at BCard, right? It's a way for us to repeat BCard without it always having to be the same kind of thing. It's another segment of people who might learn about BCard. And two, it's a way for us to get grants. This is a completely free product. It allows people to do their taxes, and in fact, hundreds of people have gone through the Taxman flow. So it's a way for us to as well get grants, which helps us fund the things that we're doing. And that's why we really need to make sure that we're not spending too much time on it, and we're not spending too little time on it. It's a bit of a balance. And so after we send this out to our email list, we will leave it for now and let it run happily in the background. And hopefully we'll pick it up again next year. Oh, yeah, I will share my screen. Thanks for that, Drost. All right. And then next up after that, the endowment fund. So we talked about the Black Flag endowment fund before. In general, we have a new mechanism for Bank this month, which is instead of having the community vote in Discord and then having a multi-sig kind of put that onto Snapshot, actually didn't really work when we did that because the multi-sig didn't do it in time. And it kind of wiped out the votes of anyone who was actually deposited into the pool directly. So instead, what we said is I did a little calculation of how much each bank was worth. And instead of having the community vote on Discord, now they can vote directly on Snapshot. Now, the nice thing about this is that, first of all, it puts the impetus on the community to get their members out and vote. And I think that that's going to be really great for things like ChippiCon, because I think a lot of people who have Bank are going to go to ChippiCon and they will be incentivized to vote. And when they're incentivized to vote, they'll learn a little bit more about BCard. And then the next thing is it creates a path for us to onboard other DAOs. So now I can go to Purple DAO and say, hey, can we put some money into this endowment fund to fund in real life events? In doing so, every Purple holder will now have a vote on the monthly thing, on the monthly disbursement, and any Purple holder can now submit an event to be funded. And so that part, submitting an event to be funded, that is going to be is going to require for me to do a little bit of work. We'll probably use a D form or something to token gate submissions, but essentially that gives us a way to get another DAO involved and then many other DAOs involved as well, which gives us a way to kind of ratchet up how much we're giving out on a monthly basis. And that's really important because, first of all, it's going to create more of these in real life events by encouraging more people to hold those events because they're going to get funded for it. And the second thing is that it's going to increase the amount every month, and that is really great for communication. If you're giving out $500 a month, well, and versus giving out $1,000 a month, well, the $1,000 a month is more eye-catching, and so it's really helping us with on two fronts. So that's kind of like the Black Flag Collective. I do need to update the website to kind of express this if I want to go to other DAOs. But that's something I plan on doing. And then as well, to close the loop within BCard the app, we also want to allow people to deposit into those funds seamlessly from the fiat world. And so I've been speaking to Braille, and they're interested in being our on-ramp. So what this will look like will be that we send fiat money over to them, hopefully via ACH. We're still kind of ironing out the details, or it could be, so we won't be sending the money, rather. The user will send money directly to them, and they will deposit the stablecoin in the user's embedded wallet. Then, because it's in the user's embedded wallet, we can immediately turn that money, we can immediately deposit that money into the endowment fund. And so that's what we're going to be looking to do. I don't think it's going to be as easy as I'm saying. I think there's going to be some technical challenges there. But if we figure it out, then we have these endowment funds, which can be seamlessly deposited into by both crypto and non-crypto people. And that could be very, very powerful for communities like OMF, communities like Black Flag, whatever community you want, which is doing something interesting in the world. People will now be able to kind of put money into those communities without having to understand how crypto works. And really, that's a goal that we're trying to accomplish. So I'm really excited about this. We also have Bridge reaching out to us. I don't know if you guys know, but Bridge recently did a large, they were recently acquired by Stripe. And so, they're really going at it with their sales associates. We'll see. Last time we talked to them, it was way too expensive for us. But we'll see. Potentially, we can work with them too. Always better to have more options. Any questions on any of the things that we talked about in this section? I know it's a beefy section here to try to get 10 new users a week. All right. Moving down, 10 high-quality communities, Glow Dollar communities ready for the product team. So basically, we have all the information that we need from them, and the intent would be to run, a co-branding campaign with them as soon as we have them in our app. We can soft launch them whenever we want, and then we can work with them to hopefully get people interested. Now, I don't have super high hopes for a community like that in terms of instant people getting involved on the campaign, but it's really great co-branding with them because they are trying to accomplish something very similar to us. They are doing it in a different way, but they are taking these traditional financial fees and using them to fund public goods, to fund purpose-driven communities. And that's something exactly like we're doing. So I think that even if we don't get a ton of new users from this, it's really great to create that connection between us, both from a communication perspective and an organizational perspective. There may be other things that we can do that will help both of these groups. All right. We should also get Black Flag community in there, and we'll do this as we start to work on the in-app voting a little bit more. Now, everyone who has Bank and eventually everyone who has BCard will be able to vote in the Black Flag collective in real life events poll. But we also want that community in there so that we can start stacking fiat dollars into it via this method as well. So we'll see, but we want to be our own guinea pig. We need to get them in there. Finally, there's also Chippy that we talked about. Also about Chippy community, and that's something we can execute on as well. Let's pop into Asana for our task perspective. All right. So I'm going to pop over all these communities and get into this week. In-app voting. Tom, do you have anything else to add besides this?
No, I think you got the bulk of it down there. I think we're just working on a couple of bugs to get things tightened up, and we're ready for some deep tests.
All right. I will comment there. All right, year-end taxes and more. Christy, how's this going?
Yeah, a little behind. I probably do need to touch base with you about like some of the entity information. So tomorrow might not work, but maybe we can reach out via DM and pick a time.
Cool. Sounds good. Yeah, definitely. All right. ChippiCon, I mean, we talked about this. Anything else you wanted to add on this, Drost?
We have surprises, and you want to build excitement and you want to draw attention, but you also want to. I almost feel like we want to do a little bit to build on ChippiCon 3 as well, and I'm not quite sure the mechanisms. And I've said earlier, it has really got my gears going a little bit too. I've got a lot of thoughts about this and a lot of things in the works, and Johnny has already created some really cool stuff. We've got some games planned. I mean, it's just going to be so much fun. Anyway, that's all I have to say at this point.
The Taxman, like I said, did do some updates, and then I will be sending it to our email list. In-app voting useful to the BCard and Black Flag Collective team. Shelby, how's this going?
Not that great, I guess. So there was a couple test votes on there that worked great, and then I don't know if I'm probably doing something wrong, but I can't vote on anything anymore. I'm not sure why.
Is it just because there aren't any votes to vote on?
No, I think there's a test one up. This is just a test. Yeah,
it looks like there was. You're probably right about there was a bug introduced, I think, in yesterday's code commit that is causing a problem with the simple voting style. So I'm just trying to run that one down now. I think the only one that's currently working is the weighted. If you wanted to test the new weighted option.
Okay. Is that still just the same? So you know what? I think I voted on that, but with my personal wallet, not with the BCard.
Yeah, if you did have BCard in your embedded wallet, it should enable you to vote for either of the two spaces that are up there on staging now.
Okay. So it wants me to connect a wallet. It won't let me vote unless I connect a wallet.
Interesting. Well, I'll keep working on it.
Okay. But I was thinking, obviously, like I don't know what to incentivize us to vote to test it out, like a POAP or something. I don't know.
Okay. You know what? Maybe this task isn't very obvious. What needs to get done on here. So let me take that back, and I will just try to figure out how I can make it a little bit more obvious how to execute on this.
Okay.
All right. Glow Dollar. So this community, we've got the partnership perspective done in that we have all of the information that we need to launch a card. Now we just need to get it into the app itself. So either Tom or I will do that when we get a chance. Identity messaging and growth dashboard. I worked on this a little bit. The next step, as I mentioned before, is to just test some stuff and see what sticks. DeSci AMA. I think you have a new date for this, NF Thinker.
Yeah, it's potentially next Thursday at 9 a.m. Eastern time. Sounds like you might not be able to make Thursdays at the time at this.
It's specifically tomorrow. You know what? It's tomorrow. I don't know. Right? Because I actually am starting tomorrow, and I have a couple of, oaths to take, which is kind of strange. I just don't know what time they're going to be at. But
Are you the new director of the FBI? You look
yeah,
exactly like him.
that might be
It's
it.
RCMP.
Yes,
In-
RCP. I'd like to see you riding a horse, Lynx.
Yeah, I have ridden a horse before. It is a little bit scary and fun, which I don't mind being a little bit scared. But in general, I should be able to like work my time a little bit, but especially going forward. But specifically tomorrow's hard part. So next Thursday, if you let me know ahead of time, I can probably do it.
Yeah, so I did send an email to Kimberly and Christian. Kimberly seems okay for that time. I don't know about MGOs. I've messaged him. I haven't heard back from him yet. The last time they kind of fell apart because we didn't have enough preparation in advance. So I think what's going to happen is tomorrow I will create a banner and we can tweet it and just get it out there. Because after next Thursday, I probably won't be able to host it for about 3 weeks. So yeah, probably best if we get it done next Thursday. I'm sure people will show up for it. MGOs will come if he can make it. And there's a few other guests who I'm sure will be interested. So yeah, next Thursday, 9 a.m., 6 a.m. Pacific, and 10 p.m. in Singapore time, which is where MGOs is.
Cool. All right. Thanks for that update. Contributor rewards and payroll. I'm going to assume that we didn't do much on this. User needs research, same deal. Competitive, all this stuff actually on the bottom of the list here. We haven't done as much. This Black Flag Endowment Fund, I will bring it up a little bit as I'm going to try to get Purple DAO to sponsor us. And I have some of the delegates from Purple DAO who've already said that they would vote for this. So I'll stick it up here a little bit as we go. Other than that, anything that we're working on that's not on this list?
Not specifically something I'm working on, but I did notice that we received some ETH into the safe. Didn't hear you mention that today, I don't think.
Yeah, it was in the team-wide announcements. We got 1.5 ETH from Flow State.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I'm hoping to distribute most of those as contributor rewards over the next couple months.
Oh, nice. Yeah, so that is all good. Other than that, no, nothing I'm working on.
All right. Getting back into what did we ship last week? So Tom got the weighted voting out, which is great. I styled it. Apparently introduced a bug on the regular voting. Fair enough. Although I think that we can work on that together, Tom, and probably get it done. I think like there's some copy paste. Anyways, that's
I'm
not
already
the yeah. Awesome.
I think I've already nailed it down. Don't worry.
Okay, amazing. So I shipped a bunch of updates to Taxman based on user feedback. Tom created a way to identify whiskey bar ship an NFT. Still need some technical work. Blueberry ran a transaction for us, and Dross is getting art from Perchy. I shared our January transparency report on socials. I should also mention that Tom sent out our monthly email to users. I got 1.5 ETH from Flow State into the multisig, and I shipped a release to production last week, which included some bug fixes. Anything else that anyone shipped that we want to include here? All right. Well, I actually do need to get going to this dentist appointment, so I don't want to get into the discussion items yet. But I do want to say thank you to everyone for being here. I think that it's a difficult time to be in crypto. I think especially right now, there's a lot of downward pressure on prices. But I think that the thing that we always thought was that it wasn't crypto itself, but the things that it could enable, which is why we're here. It's not about Web3 tooling for the sake of Web3 tooling. It's about Web3 tooling that enables individuals and groups to actually get something done. And I think that it's never been more pertinent than right now for us to actually do that. I mean, we live in this world where we just have like big tech, big banks, even like governments are getting kind of taken over by this idea that data and AI and these other kind of things are more important than community, than humanity. And I think that it's really important that that we're here trying to bridge the gap so that we can use these Web3 tools not to just bulwark these kind of top-down organizations, but to create new bottom-up organizations. The only solution to top-down control is bottom-up initiative. And so it's never been a better time for us to create bottom-up initiative. And that's what we're doing with BCard. That's what we're doing with these endowment funds. That's what we're doing every week. And I just want to say thank you to everyone who's here. I know the crypto markets are down, but when stuff goes down is the time of greatest opportunity. And so I really am glad that you guys are here with me so that we can take advantage of the opportunities that are here right now. So thank you all. I really appreciate you.
Thanks very
Cheers
much.
to me.
Thanks.
Thank you,
All right.
Lynx.
Thank
See
Good
you
luck
soon.
with the dentist.
The dentist.
Thanks, everyone.
All right, all the best.
And then dates.
Talk to you later.
Dates and times for the Black Flag DAO X Space. That's going to be on February 18th, 8 p.m. UTC, noon Pacific, 7 a.m. True Cats time in Australia, Sydney. And Tom, if you want to hop in there and be able to answer some questions on the dev side if they come up, anybody that wants to hop in, you can just listen as an audience member, or at some point if you feel like jumping up, please feel free to do that. And yeah, have a great week and super low key on all of that. I apologize for those folks that can't make it to ChippiCon, but it'll just make it that much more fun for the next time when you can come, wherever that may be in the world. So have a great week, everybody. Thanks.
Bruce, that's Tuesday the 18th?
Tuesday the 18th is correct. Yeah, and let's DM chat about things that were talked about a little bit earlier.
Yeah. Fire me info and we can loop together some promotional plan.
Cool. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Cool. If anybody's still sticking around, I guess I had a couple of discussion items about just that NFT contract that I was writing yesterday. I wasn't sure if anybody had any particular ideas about experience that they've had interacting with NFTs or promotional NFTs in the past, maybe thoughts about best practices that I should keep in mind as I'm finalizing this contract, or maybe warnings that you've come across in the past that I should look out for as red flags. Maybe if anybody thinks about any of that in the next couple of days, they just fire me a message.
That had been on my mind, Tom. Perchy, I think, would probably be a really good contact on that because he has deployed contracts on multiple platforms, and he had to migrate his original 500 Chippy because of I don't even remember what went on, but he's worked with multiple platforms and deployed a number of NFTs in his different collections. So he might be a really good person to talk to on that.
Yeah, I think I've got a good idea on sort of the basic technical precepts, but I was actually kind of thinking about it more from like a user standpoint, like, when people if they've had any issues like interacting with NFTs or anything like that. I'm very hopeful that like when our implementation goes live, the users are not going to have to interact with it at all, right? They're not going to have to worry about it or anything. So it's more along the lines of like, am I getting things set up correctly from the ground level? So maybe Perchy is a great reach out.
Yeah, I think that's good because he's definitely coming at it from the user perspective and a cartoonist who's had to learn how to interact with the contracts. That's my understanding. So I think that would probably be a good, some good feedback, at least as a starting point. So I got to get back with him anyway. So I'll mention that to him.
Sounds great.
Cool. Well, Arkusti, you got anything? Oh, I guess you just waved.
No, except for my ETHDenver FOMO, it's gone up by like 10x. So
yeah, well, yeah, that's how I felt about that first permissionless that I didn't get a chance to go to, and then I started going to these events. The first one, I'm trying to remember if it was No, it would have been ETHDenver a couple of years ago because it's easy for me to get there. It's just it's not even a full day's drive from where I live. And so a cheap way for me to get doesn't mean it's going to be cheap once I pay for a hotel and stuff. But
right,
yeah, some of these other events that I'd love to go to, but they're just too far away, too expensive of a trip.
Yeah, well, maybe ChippiCon 3 can be in the States.
that could be a voting thing for let's say we do get Chippy as a community, which I think is kind of a no-brainer, but I do think that's going to happen very easily here. That could be one of those things you vote on, right? Where in the world will we host the next ChippiCon? And they're building a nice little, I don't know how big the treasury is, it's not huge, but all the proceeds that we get from, Johnny did a Kickstarter campaign for the children's book and the mugs and stuff. You get a children's book, mug, t-shirt, all that. Then that money goes, the profits made off of that go back into Chippy Treasury. These events we hold, if people buy raffle tickets. So we've got one of the giveaways is a nano ledger. And then of course some NFTs and stuff, but that you can participate in if you're not there. Johnny's set up, they have an address that you can send funds to buy raffle tickets. And so I don't know, maybe that's a mechanism, Tom, that to think about, not necessarily for this event, but what they're trying to do is they were saying, hey, a lot of people can't go. So how can they participate like in the raffle or something and maybe have an opportunity to win some prizes without being there? And so, what would be an easy mechanism that, because right now I think, they're doing probably some manual tracking of that. Like how TrueCat is manually tracking people that stake into the Black Flag staking pool. I mean, it seems like there should be some more automated ways to do these things. I'm just kind of riffing.
Yeah, no, I think you're definitely right. I mean, mostly that stuff, especially the staking stuff, because it's all on chain, right? You should be able to read and sort of record what you need to do without having it be a manual process.
Right. I think it's just that we don't have the dev hours available. It's we're a skeleton crew.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's one of 10 million things I'd like to work on and do. It's just a matter of
it's amazing
figuring out what can we do.
Dev shop.
I kind of like operating that way, right? That I rely on no one, and hopefully can still generate something that has usefulness.
Yeah. We got to keep a lot in your skill set to be able to do that.
Yeah, it's definitely lots of learning. Okay.
Yeah. I know you've got plenty to do today, Tom and Richard. So yeah, appreciate that. I'll DM you, Tom, here shortly, and let's just keep in touch and have a great week, everybody. And I've been a little bit lax on getting those audiograms and stuff out, just because I've been, I'm not good at multitasking, and so I've been focused on cartoon characters.
Hey, that's pretty cool. It's all about priorities.
I know. Right now it's cartoons. All right. Thanks, guys.
All right.
And
awesome. Sure, gentlemen.
Chip, stop. What is it?
Have a great day.
Bye.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Bye for now.